Hey, what's going on, good people? Welcome to Russ Can Fly. It's a beautiful day out here. So I landed in Sullivan County International Airport, and I have to say, man, this runway was like amazing. I mean, it felt like I was like a Class Bravo airport, just because of the length and the width. But it was definitely time to fly on back to Doylestown. Now, what's interesting about this flight is I'm going to be flying basically southeast. And although the weather seems clear, the skies are clear, you can see for miles. Ooh, looks can be deceiving. And as you will see as this flight develops, it gets real interesting. I think this is my most challenging flight as it relates to turbulence ever. All right, so I'm going to come up here, get myself situated, and go on back to Doylestown. All right, so I got everything I need. Everything is in. All right, let's make sure trim is set for takeoff. Mixture is full rich. Flaps are up. Carb heat is off. All right, so as I take off from Sullivan County and I'm headed back to Doylestown, I really just wanted this flight to be just about the beauty of flying upstate New York and over the area. I mean, that area just has so many natural, beautiful features that, I just wanted to spend some time kind of talking about that and looking at that. And yeah, so sit back and let's have fun with this flight. All right, so just departed Sullivan County and climbing up to 6.5 and headed back to Doylestown. And I will say Sullivan County was a very easy field to land in because the runway was nice and wide and they had a bazzy, or a pappy actually. And that was a tremendous help. Look at all these, look at this, is beautiful. Look at these lakes out here. Gorgeous. All right. So climb checklist. Got a mixture, full rich. Got our, that's full. Taxi landing lights coming off. Oh. I will say, flying over those mountains, man, lots of turbulence. I'm not going to do anything right now except for flying, as it is bumpy over this stuff, boy. If you'd say this looks a little low, aren't you climbing to 6,500 feet? Well, you'd be correct. Yes, I am climbing to 6,500 feet, but the elevation in this area is quite high. And so that's one of the things that I really needed to consider as I did this cross country. So although it's beautiful, it's definitely a little high out there. I've definitely had to pay attention to my coordination. So lots of rudder play today. And I know that doesn't sound right, but it's true. All right, so I'm going to try to get up here to my altitude, 6.5. Now pay attention to what's about to happen. Woo-wee! That was crazy. Definitely hitting some turbulence. I mean, I was like, my head almost hit the ceiling. Crazy. I know you're checking out the little nervous laughter. Yeah, this turbulence has definitely got a brother paying some attention. Yeah, it was definitely choppy up here. Up here in New York. Upstate. Yeah, this is like going to the gym. I mean, this is like, woo-wee. Gotta fight it. But I'm hoping once I get over these mountains here, that I'll be done with this madness, because, like washing machine. One thing about little Sammy, fun to fly, but I wouldn't want to do like a day of this, you know, like multiple legs. No, it's like one good leg and that's it. So like today I've been flying for probably it'll be 2 hours on the Hobbs. And I'll be done. I'll be good. Whew. Goodness. Jeez. Oh, give me some smoother air. You're supposed to be smooth. It's like literally grabbing onto this other seat, myself from flying out of my seat.
Now, I will say that the turbulence really doesn't scare me as much as it used to, so there's progress there, but it's still hard work keeping the plane coordinated.
Okay. Looking for some traffic. 17 below. Okay, so they're just trying to make sure I can see where this traffic is exactly. I can't be so distracted by the turbulence that I don't know where the traffic is. Still got to pay some attention to that regardless. So getting tossed around is not too comfortable, but got to make sure I keep myself safe on the other aircraft. All right, so just making my way back to Doylestown here, and I'm hoping once I get over this ridge that it'll be a little smoother. Doylestown, that area around there was nice. I mean, it was like no issues whatsoever. But man, once I got over these mountains on the other side and into New York, I mean, it's been nuts. Oh, the weather. Did I put the CTAP for the ASOS? 118? No, I didn't. 118. Been distracted by this turbulence. But I'm actually keeping my altitude, which is pretty good. Traffic off the nose there. See him flying across there.
Skymeadow traffic's got turning base for 25, Skymeadow.
Old jet.
Every time you hear me grunt, you know I've hit a little air pocket.
There's an airport down there somewhere. Definitely lots of traffic out here. That's why you don't hear me talking too much. Between the turbulence and the bumps, I mean the turbulence and the bumps. The turbulence and the traffic, I'm definitely, you know, paying more attention to flying than talking. And of course, because there's some jets around here too. It's like you saw that one fly past. It was definitely something I need to pay attention to. But yeah, this is it's clear, but it's definitely bumpy. It's definitely kept me on my toes, and something's dialed in because we're definitely doing something on that instrument there. All right, 29 and 39, so that's good. And when I say these numbers like 29, 39, 15, that's 1,000. So 29 is 2,900 or 2,900 feet. And what I'm saying is where they are in location to me, either up or down, so that we can keep that separation.
That's the crazy thing about this turbulence. It's so clear out, as you can see out the front windscreen. It's clear, but that turbulence is out there. So just because you can't see it doesn't mean it's not there.
All right, 3,400 there. Like, I mean, it just comes down, boy. Little Sammy getting tossed around. And I will say, flying in the turbulence, like, it really makes me focus. Because I still got to be mindful of my heading, my altitude, traffic. Just can't abdicate just because you get bounced around. And that's what makes the flying a little harder. Especially with a little airplane like Sammy, like this 152. Because it's very susceptible to a lot of wind. I mean, just think of like an ocean liner on the ocean that has waves versus a dinghy. This is a dinghy. What the heck was that?
So I realized that that flicker was just from a cloud. I just flew under a cloud, and it was high enough, but it blocked the sun momentarily and it flickered. But that just goes to show you how keyed up I was flying in this turbulence. That every little thing was like catching my attention. Like, what is that? What is that? What is that?
So I'm trying to make these little small inputs, but it's really hard, getting blown around like this. So the small input game is definitely difficult. And I'm trying not to do north up on the flight and actually let the direction be dictated. So been getting used to that, trying to break myself out of that north up habit. And all of us did it. When we first got GPS, you always went up north, right? As opposed to, showing your vehicle, going west or south, or whatever. And so the first time I took it off of north up, it looked so weird. I couldn't I'm like, wait a minute, what am I doing? So, yeah, it definitely took some getting used to. But it definitely is better because I can see that I'm going southwest. I can actually see it. And so now when I get to Doylestown, I'll know that I'm northeast of the field. So that makes that easier. So all these little things that you kind of learn, tips and tricks, that you begin to learn as you just do more flying. And any of my peoples who have their PPLs, private pilot licenses, or their private pilot certificate, just do some flying. I know I'm getting ready to start trying to get into this instrument, but I'm not putting any pressure on myself. Now, there's some of you out there that, of course, are going to the airlines and you're on a mission, so you got a little bit of time crunch. But for the weekend warriors or people who are just enjoy being in the aviation community and flying, just fly. I mean, you would think that, just some straight flight out to an airport is going to be boring and you're not going to learn anything. Definitely not true. Every flight, you'll learn something. So that's why just get out there and do it. Fly. Because every time I fly, I get a new perspective. I learn something new. Especially when I fly to a new airport and land. So definitely get out there and fly. Alright, so what's going on here? So I am 25 nautical miles out from the field and still getting beat up pretty good. So my thought that I would have a little bit easier time is not to be a reality. Really would like to get the weather so I can hear what the winds are doing at Doylestown. But yeah, I can definitely tell that this has been an interesting flight because there's been times where I have been dancing on these rudder pedals to keep myself coordinated, and that's unusual. And it's a good thing that I've really been paying attention to trying to hold my altitude, because the fact that I've been kind of like in this area in New York where I guess, people were flying to New York, Teterboro and all that kind of stuff. There's been some jets, and so they usually fly.
Cessna drop wind, Cessna left downwind.
They usually fly at even numbers, and so if I'm at 6,500, they're at 7,000. So not creeping up too much to make sure we keep that 500 feet separation is pretty crucial. So this has definitely been one of those flights where I really have been wanting to pay attention to my altitude, not get sloppy, because there's definitely been some times where there have been some faster aircraft around, and like you saw earlier in the video, I can relax a little bit. Seems like it's calming down. That jet, and I think because they're a jet, they're probably on an IFR flight plan, and ATC probably vectored them around. They probably saw me because there's ADSB out on all these aircraft because it's required. And I believe, no, I'm just outside the mode C veil. So, but it's still required in this aircraft, and it is on. So they'd still be able to see me on the radar, and would probably say, hey, you know, you got this traffic, you know, at your 2 o'clock, blah, 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 turn heading, you know, 100, whatever, just to vector around me, because they definitely look like they did some kind of turning. So, but that's why it's incumbent upon me to make sure that I'm staying, you know, at my altitude. Definitely important. So it got a little bit better in terms of the wind. I wasn't fighting as much, but it's still a little bumpy, but definitely not terrible at all. So this has definitely been a tiring flight. I've definitely had to work pretty hard, but that's okay. Great flight. And doylestown traffic, Cessna 94006, about 5 miles north of the field, inbound from runway 23, Doylestown. Alright, so just making my descent into Doylestown.
And I gotta say, man, I was definitely feeling the exhaustion of having fought the turbulence during this flight. I love the challenge, but man, I have so much respect for commercial pilots wherein there's a ton of turbulence during a flight. It's hard work keeping that plane on the straight and level. Man, oh man, I was definitely feeling it.
Oh. And Doylestown traffic, Cessna 94006 decided to go upwind for runway 23. We'll be joining the pattern, Doylestown.
Remember that question I asked in my last video about the proper procedure or what's good to do when you're coming into an airport? Well, I was on about a 3-mile final when I first, you know, called in, and I just heard that there were like 4 other airplanes in the pattern, and I just decided, you know what? I'm gonna give myself some space. I'm gonna give them some space, and I'm just gonna go upwind. And then just see who's in the pattern and work from there. So, you know, I thank you all for that great feedback I got on my last video, and because I employed some of that here and just thought it would be more courteous, just go upwind and then enter a downwind later.
And Doylestown traffic, Cessna 94006, turning left crosswind for runway 23, Doylestown.
And again, you see me making this crosswind turn just because, you know, I wanted to be courteous. And like I said, I knew there was like at least 3 or 4 other aircraft in the pattern. So it just felt safer to do this rather than trying to do that straight in.
And Doylestown traffic, Cessna 94006, turning left downward from runway 23. I've got the overflying field traffic in sight, Doylestown. And Doylestown traffic, Cessna 94006, midfield left downward, runway 23. Be looking for the traffic in on final, Doylestown.
I usually don't call a midfield downwind like this, but I knew that somebody was coming in on a 2-mile final or turning final. I really couldn't hear because their radios were acting up, but I could hear that something was going on. So that's why I called it midfield downwind.
Doylestown traffic, Cessna 94006, left base runway 23, Doylestown.
Doylestown traffic 30, Bravo left downwind, runway 23, Doylestown.
And Doylestown traffic, Cessna 94006, turning final for runway 23, Doylestown.
Doylestown traffic 30, Bravo turning left base, runway 23, Doylestown, following 006.
Okay, so you know the drill. Let's get this baby on the ground. Cue the music.
Watch speed.
Doylestown traffic 30, Bravo turning final 23, Doylestown.
Doylestown traffic, Skylane 45 X-ray, turning crosswind, runway 23, Doylestown.
Well, so back to Doylestown. Ooh, that was a sporty, bumpy, crazy crosswind. Bumpy is crazy. So, but I definitely just thank you guys for flying with me and, you know, enjoying this flight. Definitely crazy. say the least. So, at any rate, back on terra firma, as they say. Russ can fly. Woo! All right, I'm out. Peace.